falling for so long. But the more you try to work it out, it seems you're going around in circles. But your best is yet to come. Activating success. Activating success. Activating success. Activating success. Get on your feet, hold your head.
An exciting episode of Activating Success. You have only one life to live. It is not enough to start. What matters most is how you finish. I'll quickly remind you of the story of John Aquari of Tanzania, who contested the Olympics in 1968. And he fell halfway, and the race ended, and the winner was announced. 3.5 hours after the race had ended, John Aquari still managed to get to the finish line. At that point, most of the spectators had left. But when asked after the race why he still persisted and finished the race, he said that my country didn't send me 5,000 miles to start the race. They sent me 5,000 miles to finish the race. It is not enough to start. What matters is how you finish. Today, we're honored to have someone who has been consistent, someone who has been persistent, someone who is doing a very, very great work. As a matter of fact, I know that he pastors one of the biggest churches in the North Central, which, he's also the founder. Today, we're honored to have Apostle King OMUDU, Senior Pastor, Shelter of Glory. Welcome to Activating Success.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. First and foremost, tell us, who is Pastor King OMUDU?
Oh, well, Pastor King OMUDU is a Nigerian, is a Christian, is a preacher of the gospel, and he's a husband, a father, and I think he's generally a happy man.
It's obvious because you're always excited and so many great things happening around you, sir. What inspires you, sir?
Well, I think my inspiration basically is God. I think that for God to still be patient with someone like me is a lot of strength. Knowing where I'm coming from, for God to believe in me and still use me in the way he uses me, I think is a lot of patience, commitment to an individual. So I think that that's what drives me. If God can be patient with someone like me and still continue with me, I think I can move on anywhere I want to go. Yes.
Tell us, what is success to you?
Well, to me, success is simply doing what you were created to do, because I believe that every human is created to do something. I like what you do, but I do not think that that is what I'm created to do. I love to see you do what you do, but I'm not you, okay? When I'm doing what I know I have been created to do, like a microphone performing the duty of amplifying the voice of a speaker, I think that's success. You know, I don't define success in material terms. I think that that is secondary. I define it more with fulfillment. And there's nothing that gives fulfillment, nothing that gives satisfaction, like when you are a square peg in a square hole. So for me, success basically is doing what you were created to do. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What is the most pressing message you have for the youth of this generation?
I think I would say focus. We are in the most distracted generation. I think our generation has more distraction than any other generation. If you want to be distracted, there are a million things to distract you on a daily basis.
That's right.
You know, I think that we are in a time where people need to know their primary objective so that they can focus. If you chase 5 rabbits, the chances are that you will lose all of them. And that's what's happening in this generation. People want to put their hands in too many things, go after things that they may not necessarily be their race. So I think that this generation, more than ever before, we need to begin to talk about focus. Looking in one direction, being able to see one thing part-time and stay with it until you see it through. Because our time speaks of a lot of distraction. There's too much distraction. The internet, social media, and so many things. So it's a very highly distracted generation. So I think this generation needs to be taught the value of focus.
The value of focus. Even the Bible says that a double-minded man is
it's unstable
in all his ways. And so that means double-mindedness leads to instability.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Focus. Very important. Talking about the work you're doing right now, sir, I've watched what you're doing very closely, and we realized that in this part of the country, you know, it's very difficult for people to start that kind of work and, you know, get to the level where God has taken you to now. I know you've rebuilt your auditorium how many times? About?
This is the 3rd time.
3 times,
Yes.
And right now you have, you know, a very, you know, massive edifice, and to the glory of God. How did you get to this point?
Oh, well, I would quite agree with you that this environment, naturally speaking, is not easy to be. You know, economically, we know the facts. I never desired to be here. I never wanted to be here, okay? Yes, I'm from Benue State, but I was not raised here. I spent most of my life outside of Benue State. I came to Benue because of ministry. I've always longed for a time where I would be out of Benue for good. At least so I thought. I believe in doing what I am called to do in the best possible way. So in my human thinking, I've always thought that I could do better outside of Benue. Okay, I actually wanted to be in Abuja by all means. I normally say to myself, if you want to fish, it's better to fish in an ocean than somebody's bathtub somewhere. So I have never liked the idea, but when God spoke to me to come, I presented all that to God. I didn't want to come. I was in South Africa. I wanted to settle in South Africa. I'd taken my small family to South Africa. This was in 2005, my wife and 2 children. And while we were just about starting the church, was when God spoke to me and called Makurdi. Wow. And so I had to teach God some things he didn't know about Makurdi. Like the population is not that much, the economy is not vibrant. I think I have a global ministry. I think I would need all the human and material resources and all that. So I would quite agree with you that it's not easy being here. I didn't find it easy coming in the first place. But for the grace of God, yeah, it would have been something else, you know. But God has been faithful. He has proven that wherever He sends, He provides. True. And then I have also learned that your location, as important as that is not more important than your motivation. So true. Okay, so it's not about where I am right now. It's about what inspires me, what drives me. Why do I do what I do? I do it to put a smile on the face of my Lord. And that drives me. So I'm no longer aware of the environment. I'm only focused on the assignment. And so, well, I think that's been the sustaining force behind what we do. And I believe that right now, I believe back then, 9 years ago, I didn't believe it. Now I believe that I could be global from any environment.
So true.
And it's not about, like I said, my location. It's my motivation. It's what drives me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You have a very great work there, sir.
Thank you so
I
much.
must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
For someone watching you right now who is confused about life, who is discouraged and frustrated about life, and believes that his or her environment has limited, you know, her progress or his progress, what word of encouragement do you have for such a person watching you right now?
I would like to say to anyone out there who feels discouraged, maybe you feel limited, you feel boxed in. I felt that way 9 years ago. I felt boxed in. I felt like God was punishing me or something for telling me to come to Makurdi. When I was born in Lagos, I grew up in Jos. I've never been in a small place like Makurdi. I worked in Abuja for a couple of years. So I felt that way before. I'll tell you that a few things matter. Number one, you must know God. You must know God. You must know His plan. You must know His purpose for your life. God, one of my favorite sayings is like this: if God cannot be God everywhere, then He's not God enough.
Wow. Wow.
If He's God enough, then He should be God everywhere.
So true.
You know, these were the things I didn't know in the beginning, that I troubled myself. God, why me? Why are you sending others to Lagos, Abuja, and you're sending me to Makurdi? Why must I start from my village? Can't I start somewhere else, you know? So if you know God, like Daniel says, the people that do know their God, 11:32b, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. Yeah. So it begins with your knowing God. When you know God and know that God can be God anywhere, you are almost there. And then the next thing is to know yourself. Know what God has put inside of you. Stay motivated. Your environment cannot be greater than your potential.
Wow. Powerful.
It's impossible. Your potential can change your environment. Don't never allow your environment to change your potential.
Wow,
so from anywhere, you can do anything. That's what I believe. And I think I'm living my belief right now. And anybody can do the same.
Your potential is greater than your environment. Very powerful.
Hello, friend. I'm Mike Murdoch. Keep watching Activating Success with my wonderful, wonderful friend, Love Idoko.
This is Bishop Noel Jones, and I want you to continue watching Activate Success with Love Idoko.
If you have an opportunity to live your life all over again, Is there anything you want to do differently?
Interesting. If I have opportunity to live my life all over again, the first thing I would like to do differently is to never doubt God, never underestimate what God can do. In my first year in Makurdi, I was a bit depressed. Yeah, I was. And this is a true confession. I was a bit depressed because I thought that I was shortchanged by God. You know, I really wanted to do something else with my life, somewhere else. You know, and then it began to get on me. It took a while. Like I said, in the first year, it was a bit hard for me to accommodate the fact that God, these things I'm telling you now, I didn't start with them. I think I would have gone farther than this if I started with this spring. But my years of doubting God, my years of depression, God, why me? Why am I here? I could have done better somewhere else. I think I have the potential for this place, that place, and all that. So I would, if I would do anything differently, I'll believe everything God will tell me anytime, no matter how foolish it sounds. Okay? No matter how foolish it sounds. God told me that I was going to touch the world from Makurdi. I told God, there's not even an airport. How am I going to do that? If I'm going to touch the world, at least I need an airport, to fly from. But that was a limitation. But now, to be honest with you, I actually don't need an airport to touch the world from Makurdi. And God's word is coming through, so it's happening already. So God is faithful. I would believe anything He says, no matter how foolish it sounds. I will not doubt Him one more day in my life, because God is true when He speaks. Yeah.
So true. Wow. What's your favorite inspirational song, gospel song, inspirational song?
Favorite inspirational gospel song?
Yes, sir.
There are quite a few of them, but over time I fell in love with this song, "God is a Miracle Worker," because at some point in my life I needed a miracle to even live the next day. Wow. Yes. 9 years when we got to Makurdi to start the Shelter of Glory, our total resources, global, was 90,000 naira. Global. I had a wife, I had 2 children, I had no home to stay. Wow. No house, literally no house. We started Shelter of Glory. In the first 6 months, we were squatting. Okay? So those days, I needed a miracle every day. To pay for the venue of the where the services hold, the Benue Hotel, it's something else. So I needed a miracle every day. That song was very handy then for me, I needed a miracle every day, so I kept reminding myself with that song, God is a miracle worker. I don't know where the next money is going to come from to take care of the next bill, but God is a miracle worker. Wow. And at the end of the day, God... So there are quite a lot of them, but that song was there with me when I needed it most. So I always like to remind myself with that.
God is truly a miracle worker.
Yeah.
Finally, I want you to say something to our viewers today. This is activating success. Okay. Somebody needs a push to get to the next level. Go ahead and say something, sir.
If you're out there and you are in need of inspiration, I would like to say there's so much around you to even inspire you. Love Idoko is an inspiration, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Because, one, you have shown that your environment is not as important as your motivation. What you do here, nobody would have thought is possible. The entire Dream Pointer group and all that is involved, nobody would have thought that it's possible within this environment. So, I don't need to tell another motivation story to you. Love Idoko is a motivation, it's an inspiration. If she can do what she does, where she does it, then you can do anything.
Wow.
From wherever. God said to Abraham after Lot left him, say, lift up your eyes from where you are. Look northward, eastward, westward. Look all around you. In other words, where you are is a good enough point to begin. You can't use that as an excuse. You can't use the lack of education as an excuse. You can't use wherever you are part-time is a good enough place to begin. Just lay hold on a better future, something better than your current situation, something more compelling, something that can get you up every day, something that can defy the weakness of the body and defy every kind of excuse that life may have given you because of whatever. Get something more compelling, something that can draw you and suck you in. And it's only a matter of time. Your environment will give way for your vision. And your vision will become the definition of your environment. A lot of people are where they are today because they cannot see a better future from where they are. If you can see somewhere better than where you are now, and see it long enough, it will suck you in. I always say to people, if you cannot get out of where you are, the least you can do is to look out.
Powerful.
The moment you start looking beyond where you are begins to change to where you are looking. Look ahead. Get something compelling, something that can wake you up in the morning, something that can put springs to your feet, something that can knock off your excuses, and you're on your way to the top.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
So much. This is so powerful. Look ahead. Have a mental picture of where you want to be. Don't give up on life. It is possible to get there. Stay with us and join us next week.
You've been trying to figure right from wrong, and the tears been falling for so long. But the more you try to work it out, it seems you're going around in